You know, we all make trash. We see it every single day. But have you ever really stopped to think about what happens after you throw something away? Like, where is away? Well, in this explainer, we're going to follow that trail and figure out how we can actually take charge of it.
Yeah, this picture. It's a little too familiar, isn't it? An overflowing bin spilling out onto the street. It's a huge, messy reminder of a problem that starts right in our own homes. And honestly, sometimes it feels just way too big to tackle.
So it really makes you wonder, right? Where is all this stuff coming from? And maybe more importantly, when we toss it, where does it really truly go? Let's dig in.
Because, you see, this is so much more than just ugly piles of garbage. Those overflowing bins are really just the tip of the iceberg. They're a symptom of a much bigger problem, one that has some pretty serious consequences for our health and for the planet.
This, right here, this contrast says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got a world that's literally choked by our waste, and on the other, you've got the beautiful, healthy planet we all need to survive. The choice seems obvious, but getting from one to the other, well, that's the tricky part.
Let's get really specific about the dangers here. When plastic gets burned, it lets off these toxic gases into the very air we're breathing. Animals out in nature, they mistake our plastic for food, and the results can be deadly. And those big piles of garbage, they create these pools of dirty, stagnant water, which are basically perfect little nurseries for mosquitoes that carry diseases.
Okay, so the problem is definitely big and it's clear. But, and this is a big but, here's the good news. The solutions don't have to be massive and complicated. They can actually start with some really simple, really powerful things that every single one of us can do.
It all boils down to a super simple three-part plan: reduce, reuse, and separate. And this isn't just some catchy slogan, okay? This is the real deal framework that communities all over the world are using to completely change how they deal with waste.
First up, reduce. And honestly, this is the most important one of all. The logic is so simple. If you don't create the waste to begin with, you don't have to worry about what to do with it later. Pretty straightforward, right?
Just think about all the single-use stuff we see every day. Plastic bottles, chip bags, grocery bags, you name it. Every time we decide to buy something with less packaging, or just remember to bring our own reusable bag, we are actively choosing to slash the amount of trash we produce. All right, next is reuse. This is where we get to be a little creative. Before you toss something in the bin, just take a second and ask yourself, hey, what else could this be used for? It's all about giving things a second or even a third life, instead of just sending them straight to the dump. You know, our grandparents were total pros at this. They saw potential where we just see junk. Take this for example, a piece of old cloth.
With a few clever folds and a couple of twists, it can be turned into something totally different, like a really strong and useful bag.
And there you have it. No scissors, no sewing needed. It's just a perfect little example of how a bit of imagination can turn something you were about to throw out into something super useful.
And finally, for everything else, the stuff we just can't reduce or reuse, we get to our third step, separate. And this is where these two bins, green for compost and blue for recycling, become your absolute best friends.
So what's the difference? Well, the green bin is for compost. That's all the stuff that can rot down naturally and become amazing food for soil. The blue bin is for recycling, materials that can be melted down or broken down and turned into brand new things.
So, into the green bin goes all your natural organic waste. We're talking fruit peels, veggie scraps, dry leaves, even eggshells. All of this can become compost, which is basically like a vitamin-packed superfood for plants.
And what about the blue bin? That's for things like metal, glass, plastic, and paper. When we recycle these, we save a ton of resources and energy because we don't have to go out and make them all over again from scratch. Okay, right now you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but does it actually work in the real world? And the answer to that is a huge resounding yes. Let me show you the proof.
Meet Siluk, a village in Arunachal Pradesh. This place used to be covered in garbage, but then the whole community got together and completely turned things around. Today they're famous for being a zero-waste village.
And get this, listen to how people describe it now. It feels like walking in a garden. I mean, that quote just says it all, doesn't it? It captures the incredible transformation that can happen when people decide to take control of their own waste.
And Shiluk is not alone in this. From Chota Narayana, which was one of the very first waste-free villages, to huge cities like Indore and Mysuru, this movement is growing. These places prove that a cleaner future isn't just a dream,
It's totally possible.
So, we've looked at the problem, we've looked at the solutions, and we've seen the incredible success stories. Now it all comes back around to us. It comes back to you.
If there's just one thing you take away from all this, let it be this simple but really powerful idea. Want not, waste not. It's a call to just be a little more mindful about what we use and, of course, what we end up throwing away. Which brings us to our last question, and this one's really for you to think about. What is one small thing, one tiny change you can make starting right now, today, to reduce waste? Because every single small action, when we all do it together, that is what really changes the world.